Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Martha from Martha Is. Today's video is my belated May book haul. So today is the 13th of June and I am filming my May book haul, and obviously as you can see I'm very behind. I do feel like it's ages since I've filmed a video, but in that time, just because I haven't been filming videos guys, I have been buying books. And while these shelves behind you look very neat and organised, anything that the camera currently cannot see is full of stacks of books that do not have a home. So that's me, that's life of a bookworm. Shut up Martha, let's get going. So my May book haul. Now I am going to do this in one video. If you've been watching my channel for a little while, you'll know that I sometimes need 2, 3, possibly 4 videos a month to take you through all of the books that I've been buying. But luckily in May I was put on a book buying ban, and I say put because I was doing the Pages for Periods challenge, which I will link down below if you're interested, and my friend very kindly said that if you don't buy any books during the challenge, so it's a 26-day challenge, if you don't buy any books during the challenge then I will double my donation. So I did it. I actually did it, and I still have books because people sent me books, because people are very nice. And then because it was only a 26-day challenge, that my friend leaves 5 days after the challenge for buying books, which is what I did. Let's get cracking, shall we? So I'm going to start with a couple of books I was very kindly sent by publishers. So this one is Stim, which is an anthology edited by Lizzie Huxley Jones. So this, if you can't see it, it says an autistic anthology. So this is what it says on the tin. It's an anthology of writing by autistic people. This was very kindly sent to me by Becca from Unbound. So if you're not familiar with Unbound, it's essentially crowdfunding meets publishing. So if you want to get published by Unbound, then you have to raise a certain amount of money, you get crowdfunded. And then once it's crowdfunded, Unbound do the rest. So, you write the book, they do all the, the editing and the printing, etc., like a kind of standard publisher. So, it's Unbound is really fantastic. I've supported them for a while. It's a really great way of bringing voices to the fore that might not have otherwise been published. So anyway, this is one. One of the things that I also love about Unbound, the books that I tend to support usually are non-fiction ones, because you tend to find some really interesting, again, platforming voices that you wouldn't otherwise hear. So we've got this, which is an autistic anthology. I think The Good Immigrant, which is one of my favourite non-fiction books ever, I think that was originally on Unbound. But this book particularly, as it says, an autistic anthology, and Becca very kindly sent me this when it was published. I want to say April, maybe May, maybe even March, who knows, I apologise, I should know that, but it was published, all I remember is that it was published around the time that, the lockdown was really hitting, and it meant that, this probably would not have got the launch that it deserves. So if you're interested in hearing more from autistic people and understanding more about them and their lives, this is a good book for you, and I will be reading it very soon. So that was one, and then the second one that I was gifted is this one. So this is Language, the Brown anthology, edited by Sophia Amina, and this is from a micropress. I believe this is the first book they published, a micropress called 1010 Press. Now the editor Sophia Amina, she got in touch with me, and I believe where this looks like 1990 Press, you probably can't even see it. I believe that's actually the Indian for 1010 Press. So this is another anthology. So this is described as the Brown anthology series is about historical, present and future Brown, without the need or prerequisite to explain, justify or create art to suit the perception of Brown. The first theme is language, and it features poems, short stories, an essay and illustrations by South Asian writers and artists from India, Pakistan, the UK and the USA. This is a declaration to push the boundaries of literature. So I think this looks really, really interesting. So thank you very much to 1010 Press for sending me that. So then books that I was just gifted by lovely friends and family. So I was having a bit of a gripe at my friend Eve on Instagram. I was in a bit of a bad mood. It was like right towards the beginning of May. It was pretty bad mood, not having a happy time. And then out the blue, a week or two later, I received a book taster box from Eve, which was totally adorable. And I was not griping in order to receive gifts. But that was just a very happy outcome of that. So if you're not familiar with the book taster, I would highly recommend it. The book taster is run by a lovely lady I'm friends with called Jenna, and she started her own business because she wanted to find kind of one-off bookish gifts and found that she couldn't really find them, so she made her own. So in a book taster box, you get some kind of you get chocolate, you get tea. You get a bookmark, you get soap, and then obviously more importantly you get a book, and it's a bespoke service. So when you're ordering a book taster box, you essentially put in a bit about the person that you're gifting it to, or yourself if you're gifting yourself, which I have done, and then Jenna will choose a book based on what you've said. So it's always really exciting. It's a surprise book, and and she has a wealth of experience in choosing books. She is a big bookworm herself, of course. Anyway, I'm rambling. So I received a book taster box, was very delighted to receive it, and the book that I had in my book taster box was This Is How You Lose the Time War by Max Gladstone. So this has been, and Amal El Motar, sorry. So this has been on my TBR for a little while, I think since Sam, who is the book she-elf on Instagram, posted this really beautiful post that really like drags you in, and then this caption completely raving about how amazing this book was. So I was sold. It's been on my TBR ever since, and now I have it. Huzzah! Then part of Pages for Periods, as I said, I did in May. One of the things that we did to try and raise money was we offered people, or we asked people to sponsor our next reads. And my dad did my classic dad thing where he didn't just sponsor me my next reads, he sponsored my next 3 reads. So he sent me 3 books. And I haven't read any of them. I didn't read any of them in the Pages for Periods challenge. And the reason is because before that, one of my co-fundraisers, Beck, had sponsored me to read Captain Corelli's Mandolin, and it literally took me until the end of May to finish Captain Corelli's Mandolin. But I'm going to read them. So the 3 books that my dad sent me that he wanted me to read. So number 1 is 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel, Garcia, Marquez. So this is kind of a classic. I think it won the Nobel Prize or something like that for literature. And so I'm sure you've probably heard of it before. I have started reading it, but I'm only 30 pages in, and it's slow. But I'm giving it a go. So this is basically like a family saga of 7 generations of the Buendia family and the town that they have built, a microcosm of Colombian life. I can't tell you much more than that. Like I said, I'm 30 pages in, and everyone has the same name. And I don't mean that in a racist sense. I mean, like, literally, if I show you the family tree, they're almost all called Aureliano or Jose Arcadio. It's not helpful. So, and then the second one that he gifted me was The Narrow Road to the Deep North by Richard Flanagan. So this is about... In the despair of a Japanese POW camp on the Burma Death Railway, surgeon Dorigo Evans is haunted by his love affair with his uncle's young wife 2 years earlier. Struggling to save the men under his command from starvation, from cholera, from beatings, he receives a letter that will change his life forever. And then the third one is Perfidious Albion by Sam Byers. It means I hadn't heard of either of these. Obviously, I'd heard of the Gabriel, Garcia, Marquez. In Edmondsbury, a small town in eastern England, fear and loathing are on the rise. Brexit has happened, and the ramifications are real. Grassroots right-wing political party England Always is fomenting hatred. The residents of a failing housing estate are being cleared from their homes. A multinational tech company is making inroads into the infrastructure. A controversial tweet, a series of ill-judged think pieces, a riot of opinions. Suddenly, Edmondsbury is no longer the peaceful town it had always imagined itself to be. Interesting. So those are the 3 that my dad sent me. And then I also participated in the Busy Mama book swap. So if you're not familiar with Busy Mama book swap, it is... I'm sorry, it's had like a total blank, feeling like I've said this before, which makes me concerned that I've already showed you this book, but never mind, if I have, I'm showing it to you again. So the Busy Mama book swap is something run on Instagram by Emily, who is Busy Mama Book Club. And basically you sign up and she pairs you together and you swap books, or you swap like a package of books and things according to a theme. Now obviously in lockdown that makes it more difficult, because previously we would literally go out, buy books from shops and buy little gifts and stuff like that. But they came up with so Emily, and I think someone else told Emily a really good idea, which was that we would swap a bookish like subscription box, like a one-off box. So you would get paired up, you'd choose which books you want and then swap them, because then the businesses do all of the work. You don't have to be going out and buying bookshops, because all the bookshops are closed. And my partner and I partnered with Kerry Louise from Book Before You Leap, and we decided to swap a book taster box. Because you can never have too many book taster boxes, guys. I can't advocate for this enough. So the second book that I received in my second book taster box of the month was this one, Histories by Sam Guglani. And I thought, I've never heard of this before, and I thought it sounded so interesting. And bless her, Jenna messaged me afterwards and was just like, I was so worried that you wouldn't like it or something. I can't remember what she said, but I recognise I have 600 unread books, so I am not easy to buy for. But she nailed it. So this hypnotic novel portrays life and death in one NHS hospital over 1 week. In the corridors and consulting rooms, by the bedside, through the open curtain, we witness old insecurities surfacing as junior doctors try to save a man from dying, an enraged chaplain picking a fight with a consultant, a porter waxing lyrical on his invisibility. Seamlessly, their stories connect, collide, and create an unforgettable panorama of being. I really feel like I've already told you about this. But I don't know. Anyway, but I think that sounds amazing. Genuinely, I think that sounds really amazing. I feel like, I've really enjoyed reading kind of medical memoirs, and I feel like this sounds like the fictional version of a medical memoir. Yeah. So I think that sounds great. And then two other gifts that I received. So Busy Mama Book Club Emily, who I've already mentioned, she has recently discovered graphic novels, and I am loving it, because if you've seen some of my previous videos, I am a big fan of a graphic novel, and she has become absolutely obsessed with them. And I sent her one called Mooncakes, which I've reviewed on this channel before, and because, I thought it was absolutely brilliant. And she very kindly sent me two in return, which was totally unnecessary. So the first one that she sent me was Embroideries by Marjane Satrapi. So if you are a fan of graphic novels, you'll probably have heard of Persepolis, which is one of, I would say, like a classic graphic novel memoir. And yes, and the author of Persepolis, Marjane Satrapi. And so Embroideries is... it's basically like conversations between, it says it's looking at the sex lives of Iranian women, already in. So it gathers together Marjane's tough-talking grandmother, stoic mother, glamorous and eccentric aunt, and their friends and neighbours for an afternoon of tea, drinking and talk. Naturally, the subject turns to love, sex and the vagaries of men. So I think that sounds really interesting. I think it's going to be quite sort of a quick read. So that's great. And then the second one she sent me was this one, which is Stepping Stones by Lucy Knisley. So one of the earliest graphic novels I read was Something New by Lucy Knisley, which was a non-fiction, which was about the author talking about her experience of getting engaged and getting married and planning the wedding. And I had got engaged at the time, and I've just found it amazing, because she was someone who didn't want like a big wedding and was quite sort of anxious, and they were going to be doing a lot of themselves. So I really enjoyed reading that. And this one, I believe, or so Emily tells me, is Lucy Knisley's first fictional graphic novel. So this is Jen is used to not getting what she wants. Jen did not want to leave the city. She did not want to move to a farm with her mum and her mum's new boyfriend, Walter. She did not want to leave her friends and her dad. And she definitely did not want to get two new sisters. A warm, bittersweet story about Jen, a city girl adapting to farm life and her parents' divorce. This book is gorgeous. Highly recommend. So I thought that sounds great. So thank you very much, Emily, for sending me those. So those are all the books that I got gifted, and if I had been doing a full month book ban, that would be it. But I wasn't, because I was only doing a book ban up to the 26th of May, and then of course I got ordering. So the 3 books that I have here that I purchased in May are Funny Boy by Shyam Salvadore. So this is our Do the Work book club pick for June. So this is an LGBTQ story. So it's in the world of his large family, affluent Tamils living in Colombo, RG is an oddity, a funny boy who prefers dressing as a girl to playing cricket with his brother. As RG struggles to come to terms with his own sexuality and the racism in his society, Sri Lanka is plunged into civil war, forcing RG towards manhood and an understanding of himself. Written in clear, simple prose, Shyam Salvadore's first novel is masterly in its mingling of the personal and the political. So I think it sounds really interesting. It is our June book and I haven't started it, but luckily I'm not leading the discussion on it, so that's okay. But I will get to it by the end of the month. And then 2 more books I bought particularly, so this was prompted in light of everything that has been happening with Black Lives Matter and anti-racism, and I did a video featuring I think 20 books that that I had on my shelves or have read about anti-racism or race that I would recommend, so I will link that down below. But even though I did make the observation in doing that video that I had so many on my shelves that I have not read, clearly that didn't stop me from buying more. So if you're not I don't know, you may be familiar with a publisher called Verso. So they're kind of a sort of, I guess, a radical publisher. I don't know if they've got like a description of themselves in the back of the book. But they publish a lot of kind of political stuff, like, you know, feminism and stuff like that. And I have some of their books already, but so I decided to buy 2 more because why the F not? So the first one I bought is this one, which is Beyond the Pale by Vron Ware, White Women and Racism in History. So you know, it's been really positive to see so much more awareness of how whiteness and white supremacy is the reason we have racism. It's not for people of colour to deal with, it is for white people to sort out. And but it's also an element which I think isn't talked about as much, which is the role of white women. They do have a specific role in upholding white supremacy. So when I saw this book on the Verso website, I thought, yes, this is what we need. And then the second one is Heart of the Race, Black Women's Lives in Britain by Beverly Bryant, Stella Dudsey and Suzanne Scaff. So I think this is what it says on the tin. It's the history of Black women's lives in Britain. Just checking that I haven't completely made that reductive. It's a testimony to the collective experience of Black women in Britain and their relationship to the British state throughout its long history of slavery, empire and colonialism. So I think that sounds really interesting, and it's so important because I think what we've been seeing with, you know, the toppling of the Edward Colston statue and everything around statues and all of that stuff, everything that's happening right now is really trying to reinforce the fact that racism is not an issue that is confined to America, that Britain has had a complete driving role in that through colonialism, empire, slavery. So we have so much work to do to understand our own history. I mean, I didn't get taught any of this stuff at school, so it's really critical that we start learning that. So I'll get off my soapbox now. So that is all the books that I bought or was gifted in May. Let me know how you are getting on. I hope you're all well. I know we've been in lockdown for basically forever, but I hope you're all very well. Let me know what you've been buying. If you've read any of these and you enjoyed them, then please tell me. If you didn't enjoy them, then please don't tell me because I haven't read them. Unless it's 100 Years of Solitude and you want to confirm that this is a terrible idea, in which case I will very politely tell my dad, thanks for buying, but I don't want to read it, sorry. Yeah. I'm going to stop now. I'm just going to stop rambling. Shut up, Martha. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel. And I hopefully will see you again soon. My God. Bye.